As gross as it is, Clark decided to eat someone's slimy leftover desk pizza.
Figured Ron Troop wouldn't mind if I got rid of his leftovers.
Hello. It's me, your girl, misstoonslover, and I'm back! For real this time.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
I apologize for leaving y'all for a good year or so, but seriously, I'm back with a breakdown episode, okay? Superman the Animated Series, The Late Mr. Kent, okay? Season 2, episode 22, 222. Alright, let's get into it. The episode starts with a group of mourners from the Daily Planet at the local cemetery. The memorial service is for my guy, Clark Kent. Yeah, man, someone took him out. Meanwhile, Superman, who is very much alive, looks back on the events that got him into these shenanigans. A few days prior, Clark was assigned to interview Ernest Walker, a petty thief convicted of murder 5 years ago, and now he is scheduled for execution this week. It's a wrap for him. During the interview, Walker claims he may be a thief, but he's innocent and he never hurt nobody.
Look, Mr. Kent, I stole, lots of times, but I never hurt no one. Never. You gotta believe me.
Clark's like, nah, but you was out here trying to pawn the victim's necklace. Like, you did it. But Walker's saying no, he found it outside his house and it was a setup. He ain't do it. Clark starts being all extra and listens to the man's heartbeat to determine if he's lying or not. He's like, you know what, Walker? I think you're telling the truth. You not lying. So Clark heads over to speak to the lead detective on Walker's case, Detective Bowman. Bowman gives Clark the case file, but lets Clark know, you're wasting your time, man, but go ahead, I'm going to hellhole. Look at all these books. Clark's gonna be at this for hours. As Clark is reviewing the transcripts, Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen try to get Clark to come out to eat, but this man's like, beat it, I'm busy. As gross as it is, Clark decided to eat someone's slimy leftover desk pizza.
Figured Ron Troop wouldn't mind if I got rid of his leftovers.
But it gives him an idea. The pizza reminded Clark of Walker's alibi. He was home alone watching TV and eating pizza. That's still pretty nasty though. Like, why would you eat that? Clark makes his way to the pizza place closest to Walker's home with intentions of questioning the pizza boy that took the order. He was definitely reaching because the murder was 5 years ago. Like, bruh, who's gonna remember that?
5 years ago? Forget about it. I'm lucky if a delivery boy lasts 5 days.
But, you know, Clark, he actually came out on top because the record of Walker's pizza delivery order was on a floppy disk in the storage room. Y'all remember floppy disk? Anyway, Clark called Lois to let her know he has proof to clear Walker's name and he's going to take this evidence on over to the governor right quick. The evidence shows that Walker got his pizza almost the exact time the murder was committed. Anyway, this is when stuff get a little spicy. Instead of Superman flying this evidence over to save this innocent man's life who's about to, be killed in a few days, he decided he wants to drive. It's Clark Kent. You know what? I can dig it. He was going to get a win for Clark Kent and not be Superman for a minute. He's just going to let Clark have a moment. Whatever. As Clark was coming around the corner when he comes, the camera zooms into the bomb planet in Clark's car, and boom goes the dynamite. Clark's car explodes, falls off a cliff and into the sea, destroying the evidence that Walker didn't murder that lady. I think it's wild as soon as Clark hits the water, his perfect Superman curl is shown. I love his curl. Of course, Superman survives, but he can't come straight up out the ocean because a fisherman is nearby and he'll learn of Superman's identity. So he swims off somewhere. I'm not quite sure where. Next scene, we see Superman retrieving Clark's car out of the water while Lois is telling Detective Bowman that Walker is innocent, as only the real killer would try to kill Clark. Bowman wasn't trying to hear it.
Kent was a reporter. Who knows how many enemies he had? This might come as a kick in the pants, Lane, but nobody likes you guys.
Lois believes there's a chance that Clark is still alive, but this pain in the ass Bowman is certain that Clark is dead. He points out the fisherman that's a witness and said he saw the whole thing. This guy needs to pull out his specs to see some paperwork, so Lois decides to ask him questions of her own. That night, Superman goes to see his parents and he tries to think of ways he can bring Clark Kent back. Superman says he needs to be Clark Kent, as being Superman all the time would drive him insane. I'm not quite sure how, but he still needs to clear Walker's name, regardless of whether he's Clark Kent, Superman. Like, he got stuff to do. Now it's caught up to the memorial service that we saw in the beginning of the episode. Clark is contemplating telling the world that he's Superman and he's Clark Kent. He both of them. He's letting them know because he's trying to clear this man's name. So Clark, he said, I got shit to do. Superman flies back to his house to change back as Clark one last time because he's about to give himself up. He intends on letting the governor know that he survived the car crash because he's Superman, as long as he can save Walter. When he arrives, he realizes that Lois is inside of his apartment. She's trying to figure out who killed Clark, and she discovers the bug planted inside of the phone. Somewhere in here, Lois gets all teary-eyed saying how she liked Clark, even though she was a jerk face to him like all the time. She informs Superman about that fisherman eyewitness and how he's really blind, so he didn't really see all of Clark's crash. And since Clark hasn't called anyone to say he's okay, he must be really dead. Because Lois is incredibly nosy, she realized at the very last minute, the last second, that there was a bomb in the bookcase. Whoever wanted Clark dead was not playing at all. Bomb his car, his house. What they gonna do to the newspaper place next? Superman does his hero-ish and saves Lois, the building, and the people outside. He was on a roll. As he looks in the crowd, he sees Detective Bowman's shady ass. I knew I didn't like the cut of this man's jib. Lois corners Bowman later that night and digs in his ass. She's like, I know it was you that killed that lady and framed Walker and tried to kill Clark. Lois pulls out the evidence and this lunatic snaps. They get to wrestling and whatnot, and then Bowman throws Lois over the banister down the staircase. Woo child! Superman took his sweet ass time, but he saved her.
What took you?
You were going to get Bowman to incriminate himself, remember?
I think this qualifies.
Bowman attempts to escape in the helicopter on the roof, but Superman said, I got time today, let's go. They battle it out, and Bowman is detained by the police. Lois and Superman pull up to the governor's house to let him know Detective Bowman was the real killer. However, my guy ain't home. He's at Walker's execution. Like, the days went by really fast in this episode. Good grief. Just as the gas is turned on, Superman busts in, saves Walker from the gas chamber at the last minute. Lois writes the newspaper article about all that happened, but it's still sad because Clark is still gone. She receives a call and is shocked, flabbergasted about something, and she runs on up out of there. At Lois Lane's penthouse, Lois finds Clark alive, but he's all bandaged up all around his head. Look at him. He tells her he was washed ashore, found a phone and called Lana, but was too weak to call anyone else until later. Lois is irked because she was crying and stuff, but she don't ask for anything else. She said, you know what, I'm out of here. Sometime later, Bowman sits in his prison cell and he is upset as he reads the story about his own execution for killing that lady, and it's written by none other than Clark Kent. Can you believe that? You tried to kill the man, and now he put you in jail and you're reading the newspaper article about your own death sentence? That's gotta suck, bruh. Anyway, they take him to his final moments. As he sits in the same gas chamber as Walker was almost executed in, he starts thinking about how did Clark survive that bomb? Then, as he's about to, take his last few breaths, Bowman suddenly realizes that Clark Kent is Superman and Superman is Clark Kent, and that's how he made it out. But as he's like, they're the same person or whatever he said, the levers pulled and it was a wrap for him. Yeah, so he figured it out, but he died. They killed him. The end. that episode got a little dark. I mean, I always thought of Batman was like the darker show, and Superman, it was just so much more uplifting, and it was brighter. They just seemed like they used brighter colors. But man, if this episode didn't get dark, the episode, it was something. I liked it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Did you ever watch this episode before? If this is your first time hearing about it, go check it out on HBO Max. All right, well, I'm about to get on up out of here, but please remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, leave a comment on another breakdown that you'd like me to do, 90s, 2000s cartoons. All right, I'm out of here, guys. Bye.